Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show. It is officially, it's Wednesday, October 9th. We are flying through the week. And as always, we are closer to a presidential election, which is coming up. And everybody's saying it. It's the most important election of all our lifetimes. More than Reagan, more than Bush, both Bushes, more than Clinton, Obama, Joe. God, can you believe it? She's worse than Joe. It's truly wild stuff, folks. I couldn't be more than happy to have and spend this fine morning with all of you. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I got to go into work earlier today, but that doesn't mean we don't have important stuff to cover for and with all you fine patriots. If you could, support us by hitting that like button. Support us by checking out our website. Support us by hitting that subscribe button. With that being said, let's jump right into the news of the day, where we got officials. They're raising concerns, folks, about terrorists again. Do you think they sent them to Gitmo? Do you think they sent them to Quantico? No. They just deported them, and they declined to prosecute these ISIS terror suspects. Oh, goody. That sounds like the Biden administration, right? Just giving terrorist organizations millions of dollars like we see in Afghanistan. They give them billions of dollars like we see with the Iranians. That's the #1 leading sponsor of terror. We're not shocked anymore. It's almost like we're becoming desensitized to this stuff. Where, yeah, it pisses us off a little bit. But it also is normal for this administration. So the Biden administration is facing criticism over border policies after 8, it's unbelievable, after 8 ISIS terror suspects from Tajikistan who illegally crossed the border were arrested over the summer for planning a terror attack in the United States. And we have more of these terror attacks coming up, folks. I got some news for you, let me tell you. CBS reported that after 4 months, 3 of these suspects have been deported. Oh, they went back. While 4 additional suspects are in custody and expected to be removed in the coming weeks. So they got to sit there and plot an entire terror attack on U.S. soil. And, well, you guys get to go home. Free ride back. It's okay. God, these people running the country, man, they're a bunch of buffoons. They are a bunch of buffoons. And as I've always mentioned, terrorists don't like Democrats. Terrorists don't like Republicans. They don't like Americans or Western values. It doesn't matter who you are. They want to kill you. It's a good thing that 3 potential national security threats have been removed from the country so that they can go to their homeland and just help other people plot terrorist attacks. Oh, goody. If that wasn't bad enough, what I'm about to present to you folks is one of the many cases to go out and vote early. Go out and vote early. You have right here an Oklahoma man in Oklahoma's spotted election day terror attack in U.S. on behalf of ISIS Justice Department. A 27-year-old entered the United States weeks after the pullout of American troops from Afghanistan on the special immigrant visa. We got a video clip here, folks. An Afghan citizen living in Oklahoma has been charged with plotting a terror attack on Election Day on behalf of who? The Christian state. Just kidding. The Jewish state. Oh, just kidding again. No, the Islamic State, in which he and an underage co-conspirator expected to die as martyrs. Here's a little bit of what that sounded like on Brett Byer's show of Fox News, I believe.
Breaking tonight, the FBI says it has foiled a terror plot set to take place inside the U.S. on Election Day. A criminal complaint just unsealed within the last 30 minutes says 27-year-old Nasser Tahedi conspired with ISIS and obtained firearms and ammunition to conduct that attack in the name of the terrorist organization, ISIS. The Justice Department says he took steps to move his family overseas.
Whoa. We got spinning wheel of death. There we go.
Machine guns and ammunition. FBI Director Chris Wray says tonight, quote, this defendant, motivated by ISIS, allegedly conspired to commit a violent attack on Election Day here in our homeland. Terrorism is still the FBI's #1 priority, and we will use every resource to protect the American people.
Oh, it's our #1 priority. Again, we've covered this in the past. The FBI has told Congress that when 9/11 happened, there was alarm bells going off. Christopher Wray, the FBI director, has told Congress, the House of Representatives, the Senate, everybody, that this goes beyond alarm bells. In terms of terror threats and risks to this country, he's saying that there's never been anything like this since the inception, the creation of this country. But don't worry, you guys. Kamala Harris will fix it. Yeah, no, she said so, you guys. Come on, you got to believe her. She's trustworthy, right? She's trustworthy. She's done such a great job at the border. She really handled it. She flew over it. She visited El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. All these presidents said, hey, people are just leaving our country because of famine and drought. Yeah, that's why they're here committing crimes. That's why they're here taking from your hard-earned wallet money, work, whatever you want to call it. They're taking your money. Bad, folks. It's really bad, and it's only going to get worse if she's reelected. If she didn't fix it in 3.5 years, going on 4 years now, she's not going to fix it in another 4. Even they're asking, even the Biden administration's asking for 4 more years. How many years do you need to solve a problem that you could fix in an hour? And the solution is go down there, send the brigade, send the troops, lock up the border for a bit, get it under control, get the border wall. We know it's just sitting there in the desert. We've seen footage of it. And start building that thing. And then we can deal with everything else. We need to stop the bleeding. J.D. Vance has echoed this. Other politicians have echoed this. You need to stop the bleeding, and then we can deal with everything else. They don't want to do it. Why? Because they know at the end of the day, this is millions and millions of votes for them. At this point, you guys, I said early on, maybe you can use the border wall as a negotiating tool or chip to give amnesty to those that were already here. There's too many people at this point. You have more people than half the population of our states. You can't do mass amnesty. Amnesty's off the table. I don't, look, no border wall in exchange for that. Nuh-uh. No, sir. Because I know that we will never get a sitting president to be Republican again. And I'll tell you why. You build a border wall, right? Big, beautiful border wall that Elon Musk can see from space. You give mass amnesty. Well, there goes that Republican president not going to get reelected or in office again. So you get this other dimwit coming in and takes down the border wall. There you go. And now you're finished. And now you're finished. So you would think that would be enough of illegal aliens, but it's not. But it's not. 4 illegal aliens arrested for allegedly attacking, robbing women in Dallas. Oh. How many are we going to do of these? Just a question, Kamala. Kamala, how many are we going to do of these? Joe, it's no point even talking to you anymore. You don't have a damn clue and haven't had a damn clue in decades. I'm not sure when your development has slowed, but it was a long time ago that your brain just gave out on you, buddy. I don't know if somebody kicked you in the teeth or the head or you fell down a flight of stairs somewhere and we didn't know about it. But Joe, you're gone. Quite frankly, it almost makes me wonder if somebody kicked Kamala Harris in the head because she did not used to talk like this. I'm telling you, there's something going on. With these politicians, there's something going on to where either they fell down, somebody kicked them in the head, or they're doing drugs because these people, you watch them over time and they turn into idiots. I'm not saying they weren't idiots before, but what the hell? Kamala Harris is from my home state. I watched her. Idiots produce idiot results, and that's what you see. You see 3.5 years plus of idiocracy, like stupid, I'm trying to be careful with my words, stupid policy. I'm trying to be careful with my words because I'm trying to see if I don't cuss, if that has any ramifications on what YouTube's doing with my channel. So 4 illegal aliens from Venezuela have been arrested by the Dallas Police Department after allegedly forcing their way into a home of a woman at gunpoint. Well, how'd they get a gun, Kamala? How did that happen? How on God's green earth Did these illegal immigrants who aren't citizens get a gun? There's background checks. I know Democrats don't believe that. I own a firearm. Okay? You do a background check. You take a test and everything. How'd they get the guns? How'd they get the guns, Kamala? I'm sure that woman would have loved to protect herself. I hope she had a gun. But here's the thing. Things are so ass backwards that you can have somebody invade your home. A group of men. And these idiot Democrats want your gun to have a magazine of 4 rounds, 2 rounds. These people are so far off the reservation. They want your firearm to have 1 round in it. Like a musket. Oh, we should just go back to muskets. They don't understand. They've never shot a gun. They have no idea what it's like to have all these chemicals, adrenaline rush through your body. When something like that's happening, you barely think straight. Well, why do you need to reload so many times? I don't know. Maybe because there's 4 grown men coming after probably itsy bitsy tiny woman. You love that this is called a home invasion, right? According to the law. But when you have 10.5 million people invading your country, your home, not an invasion. No, we can't call it that because it's bigotry. Oh, it's racist. How's it racist when there's like 150 countries pouring across? Like, who the hell knows what these people and where they're coming from? They're white, Hispanic, they're blacks, they're African Americans, they're Norwegians, they're Chinese, they're everything. But it's racist. Isn't it racist to assume that it's racist? The woman was allegedly held at gunpoint by illegal aliens on the night of September 21st after pulling into the driveway of her home outside of the wealthy Highland Park neighborhood. The woman claims that she was struck in the head with a firearm multiple times before being taken into the house and tied up before the suspects told her they would cut off her fingers if she didn't tell them in the home where the safe was located. No, these people are just here for a better life. We always say it. Yeah, Kamala Harris said so. Yeah, this guy here, along with his 4 other psychos, they're just here because there's a drought. Yeah, there's a drought and famine. It's global warming, climate change is what we're being told. Not just by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, no, but by the entire Democrat Party. AOC, Chuck Schumer, Ilhan Omar, Nancy Pelosi, Rashida Tlaib. Any psycho that's in the Democrat Party that's pushing this climate change stuff, this is why they're coming over. And not just to live a better life, but so they can rape your children, your women, murder your family. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. I can't say it enough. But they want to remove your firearms. So when something like this happens to you, God forbid, on any American side, doesn't matter. You can't protect you and your family. Can you imagine seeing your kids tied up and these guys threatening your kids that they're going to cut off their fingers? As a grown man, and your job and responsibility on this earth is to protect women and children, and this is what you're going to allow to happen? And you don't have a firearm? You got nothing? Where's the alpha males at, boys? It's frustrating as hell. But you know who speaks up on behalf of the American people? One of the few people in media that's been doing it right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of conservative podcasts or stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's the media that doesn't want to sit there and address real issues and call out stuff. Well, you got Scott Jennings here. Our boy on CNN is coming out and just laying down the law each and every day. We love the man. He's doing a service to this country. Scott Jennings.
Let me give you the political reality that we're in right now in October.
Sure.
Huge majority of the American people believe and know that we have an illegal immigration crisis in this country. Kamala Harris got asked 3 times on national television tonight if it was wrong to change the executive orders the way they did on day 1 that allowed this huge flood of people to come in. She would not address it because she knows how politically damaging it is. There are people all over this country and every political party, and independents too, who know full well that if she becomes the president, we're going to have a permissive immigration structure, even more permissive than we had under Biden. And they believe Donald Trump will crack down on this and that he has a common sense viewpoint that, hey, maybe we don't want violent people in here. No, they don't go down the list and say rapist in, rapist in. They just go down the list and say in. Why don't we know if they've been convicted of a crime in another country? It's broken. He will crack down on it. She will not. And everyone knows it. Let me give you the political.
And, CNN, I mean, it's remarkable. They're going to sit there and, well, that's not true. How do you know that? Based on her record, she's a knucklehead. She don't have a clue. She can't answer basic questions. Don't get me going, Patriots. Don't get me going. It drives me up a wall. And I know it does with all of you. Trust me, I'm reading the chat. I see y'all in there. You're losing your minds. And rightfully so, because this affects you guys. This whole election affects everybody, which is kind of weird, right? If you think about it, based on the structure of our country, it is weird that we're going into an election where we feel that a president of the United States is going to affect us on an individual and personal level. Why do I say that? The president really doesn't have all that much power. It's part of the federal government, right? The people that you should be most worried about and most concerned with is your mayor, right? Those in your locality first, and then your state. Those are the people who have the most impact on all of you. But we're all sitting back being affected by somebody that's in Washington that doesn't have their head on straight and has their head so far up there, you know what, that they haven't seen daylight in years. And it's actually affecting us because you're having all these people pour across the border that are dipping into our social programs and siphoning from it. And it's affecting people so that when there's a natural disaster or Americans in need, regardless of whether you're Democrat, independent, Republican, conservative, part of the Green Party, it doesn't matter. And you need those funds so that you can take care of your family because you paid into said system. And now you can't get the funds, but you get $750 from the federal government, meaning Kamala Harris, because she's an idiot. You know, well, now it just all goes down the pooper. Now it all goes down the pooper. Well, speaking of going down the pooper, we got Springfield coming back. Remember, they're eating cats and dogs was what was being said. Well, now the temp agency is profiting from Haitian labor in Springfield, and they're encouraging migration. I don't think anybody's against immigration. I'm sure there are, right? I'm sure they are. When I say nobody, I just mean in general, Americans are for immigration because we could sit there and take the best and brightest from other people's countries and put them in our country and we could thrive, baby, thrive. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And then we really make the American dream something that no other country can do or say that they do or whatever. So I think we're all for immigration. We're a country of immigrants. My father immigrated here legally, by the way. So we're all for it. We're not for people breaking the law. We're law-abiding citizens for the most part. I think we all screw up every now and then. Maybe we speed over 65 because that's an argument the Democrats say. Oh, well, isn't it a crime to sit there and drive 66 miles an hour when it's 65? It's the way these people think, man. It's the way they think. A Springfield, Ohio temp agency that profits off migrant labor is encouraging Haitian migration to the small Rust Belt city. Oh, I'm sure the locals love this. First Diversity Staffing supplies Haitian labor to companies in the surrounding area, including Amazon, Dole. So these are just big corporations. Automotive parts manufacturer. The company even provides transportation to the migrants, shuttling them to and from the company's corporate clients. But the Daily Wire review shows that the First Diversity is doing more than recruiting Haitian migrants. What could they be doing in Springfield here? The company appears to be actively recruiting Haitian labor from other parts of the United States and bringing them in. What? Oh, do you speak these languages? Do you enjoy helping people? Would you happen to be an illegal immigrant? Just kidding. Would you happen to help your community? Well, join us at First Diversity. I mean, doesn't that name say everything you need to know about this organization right there? Like, wouldn't your priority be to help Americans? Shouldn't that be where our value set is at? No longer is that the case for Democrats. I mention this every single day, and I know you all know it. You mention it too, probably to your friends and family. We are second-class citizens in our own country. You have Americans that will put everybody else in front of you. Like, are we even a family anymore? Are we even brothers and sisters? Do you know what I mean? If you read my book, Trojan Horse, that's how I relate America, by the way. I talk about America where lately we've been fighting, right? Democrats and Republicans. We've been headbutting. The analogy that I use is talk about a family in my book, Trojan Horse. If you're not aware of it, we do have an entire book. Might as well plug it. I wrote it. It's fun. I love it. Some of you read it multiple times. I really appreciate that. And if you do buy it, leave a nice 5-star review on Amazon. I talk about us being a family. And the way I correlate it is when you have brothers and sisters, you guys fight with one another. I know I did. But that doesn't mean that when there's somebody that goes against your sister or your brother out there outside the home, well, all of a sudden, screw you guys fighting against one another. Now you're brothers and sisters in arms, baby, and you're going after that person that's messing with your family. Lately, because we have no common enemy anymore, it used to be communism, right? It might have been the Nazis, right? The Japanese back in the day. We don't have a common enemy. You think it'd be terrorism, but that's gone out the window with Democrats. So we've been fighting with ourselves. And then what I would imagine would happen, and I could be wrong here now at this point, is that when somebody actually F's around and finds out with America, you would think that we would band together. Right now, there's really never been a point in our history, I'm sure you could find one, but in this type of scale, where a party wants to sit there and support other people before actual Americans. Like, we've always taken care of our people first, and then if we had something left over, we would take care of everybody else. And by the way, it's biblical. If you don't have clothes, you can't go clothe people. If you don't have money to donate, you can't donate money. We need to sit there and get our ish together so that we can help other people that are suffering. But you need to help the suffering here first. Stop sending these countries billions of dollars. Figure it out here first. Take care of our family of Americans, Democrats and Republicans. Take care of one another. And then once we have our bleep in a line, let's go ahead and help everybody else. And you do that on an individual level. You do it on an individual level. You have to live like no one else to be able to live like no one else. It's a Dave Ramsey phrase. You need to save up so that you can become wealthy one day. And so not only can you help yourself, and you did for a lot of decades, but then at the end of the term, in the end of those steps, and you've accumulated wealth, now you can go help the needy. You can help the veterans, which is my end goal one day. I would love to create an organization and have enough money to where we could help these guys on the streets. We can get these guys off the streets, clean it up, get them a nice hotel room, get them a hot meal, some nice clothes, you know what I mean? Get their stuff figured out. Get them if they got stuff going on. They got stuff going on upstairs, and rightfully so. We got to get them help. I mean, I'm not a veteran, by the way. I've never served. A lot of people kind of think because the way I look that I might have. No. But because I didn't serve, I want to help. But I don't have the means, but I want to get there. Democrats want to sit there and leave everybody out to dry, and we're seeing that right now with the hurricane. We're seeing it point blank. It's in broad daylight. It's smacking us in the face. Well, the other thing that's smacking us in the face is freaking the election. It's coming up. And boy, oh boy, the foozery has started. If you haven't been up to date on the shenanigans that's going on, let me just bring you up to speed a little bit. And it's very easy. Whatever you saw in 2020 is happening again, Patriots. It is happening again. They're already sending out ballots to multiple people. There's people getting 6 ballots. Why? And here's the problem. You might go, well, they're not going to accept all those. They did in 2020. Nobody looked under the hood. We don't know what happened in 2020. I always say it. We don't have a clue. Well, they sat there and ran an audit. No, they didn't. They just recounted. That would be like Jeff, because he's an accountant, going auditing a company and then just sitting there going through the books, looking at all the errors and just recounting his same errors over again, and nothing changes. They didn't do any sort of forensic audit. They didn't look under the hood. They just sat there and recounted all the dumb mistakes they made prior. They didn't check signatures. They didn't make sure that people actually lived at the properties in which they were voting for. They didn't even see if the property existed anymore. They didn't care at all. They just looked and saw some buffoon sat there and circled Joe Biden and asked no questions about it. They're doing it again. On top of that, we know for a fact Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, all these states, the swing states specifically, are not sitting there and cleaning up their voter registration rolls. All those lawsuits the GOP did, it's not doing anything. They're not willing to do it. So you're going to have illegal immigrants vote again. You're going to have dead people vote again. It's going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go, well, screw it then. I'm just not even going to show up. No. That's not what I'm saying. Make it a day. Can we make an election day? Like, go get food, get some pizza. Can we tailgate this shit? You know, now I cuss. Now I'm done on YouTube. Can we tailgate this? You know, get the rotisserie out, boys. You know, fire up the grill. You know what I mean? Like we do with football games. Get out there with the Trump flags wavering. You vote, you get a free hot dog. They're cheap, right? Maybe not so much anymore under Kamala Harris's administration and Joe Biden's. Freaking expensive. But you know what I mean. And that brings me into this. You got Pennsylvania voters reveal top election issues as 2024 voting begins. Now, why is Pennsylvania so important? Because they're a swing state. And a survey taken just a little while, about a month ago, 800 registered voters. By the way, you tend to want to see 1,000 in statistics, so it's a little bit short from what we would like to see. Found that inflation, cost of living, immigration, and general economic concerns were the top issues in Pennsylvania. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Yes, sir. Hold on. If that's your issue, everybody breathe. Everybody breathe. A lot of energy. If this is what's going on, and these are your top issues, why are you voting Democrat? Right? Inflation, cost of living, immigration, and general economic concerns. All of those were caused in a negative way by Democrats. It's like, again, the clip from Liar Liar with Jim Carrey's always on point lately, where he walks in the bathroom and he just starts beating himself up. And the guy walks in and catches him. He's like, what are you doing? And Jim Carrey's going, I'm kicking my own, you know what? 71% said they were worried about the ability to pay their own energy needs. So do you think it's helpful, Democrats? I'm not speaking of pay. All of us in the chat know this, right? We watch the show every day. We're all in tune, but there's people roaming this earth that are not. If you're having trouble paying your bills, do you think inflation was the cause of that? And if so, remember, Joe Biden, 9.1%. A lot of people didn't see it in their lifetime like myself. I'm only 35. It was a 40 to 41 year high. Nobody had seen it in 40 years, 4 decades. Immigration, again, there's never been a single person that's lived in this country in the human existence since the inception of this country that's ever seen immigration to this level. You are witnessing unprecedented times. There's never been anything like it. Never been this many people. I don't think any country's ever seen this in the inception of the country. And there's countries that are 1,000 years old. So if you're being reamed, why would you sit there and go, do you think Donald Trump's really that bad? If he's so bad, then why did you flourish under him most likely? Or do better? You were better off 4 years ago than you are today. I understand COVID happened. Well, I'm struggling paying my bills. I'm struggling paying for electricity and other energy across the board. It's ruining. I can't save for nothing. My children aren't eating. And it's all because of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, but let me go vote for Kamala Harris again. Jesus, man. Is there I don't know. There's something going on. There's like a lack of. I'm not saying Donald Trump's going to solve all of your issues. That's not what I'm saying. But he's going to open things up for you to be able to actually flourish a little bit more. That's what we hope, at least. Oh, boy. Let's hope. Patriots, are you having a good time in the chat? I see y'all in there. I see you guys chatting away. I see it it's blowing up. It's blowing up. Well, let's go ahead and check out this sponsor called Plunderworld, folks. Ooh, baby, buckle up for this one. Stop playing games. Plunderworld trading cards are the blunt force collectible in the culture war. Each card details the people, events, and technology responsible for the state of this world today. Plunderworld is a collection of the greatest trading cards ever made. Like 279 cards, folks, detailing history. And wake up peers with Plunderworld. Get people interested in reading instead of scrolling. Yeah, we need that a lot. I 100% agree with that. There are limited quantities of Series 1 of Plunderworld.com. These will not last. They're going to go like hotcakes. Each box holds 36 foil packs. Each pack has 7 cards. All cards are randomly inserted. There are 9 ultra rare cards that you can find. Order now and get free shipping within the United States. Plunderworld is a new twist on trading cards that dares the challenge of collecting. Some people are really into collecting, by the way. Some people are hardcore in this. If you're one of those, this is for you. Just like the stream you are watching, please support independent media like Plunderworld. Continued support will ensure that more series will follow. Check that out, folks. That kind of sounds fun. If you're a collector and you're into cards, that is right up your alley. If you're not living in the United States, well, you got to pay for shipping. So people like Shib and others, you got to ship. You got to ship. Ship. All righty. Well, if you're having a good time, hit that like button. You know, it's funny that I say that. I actually forgot to hit the like button myself, so I make sure I just click that right now over at Rumble and YouTube. If you're over at YouTube, screw YouTube. We're trying to get people over at Rumble. Rumble has said that they think there's some foozery going on. I will say that. They didn't say it explicitly, but they said a lot of people are leaving YouTube for the exact reason why I posted that video. So I posted it on YouTube. We'll see what happens, baby. We'll see what happens. Well, there's that hurricane that took place, and there's another one, man. This one's Category 5, folks. Pray for Florida, dude. It's going to just wallop them. It's going to T-bone them. It's going to be bad. So FEMA had this webinar. And this webinar says agencies moving towards LGBTQIA plus elemental P alphabet soup. Disaster equity over helping most people. People don't see that this is just crippling companies. It's crippling and hurting people. This whole idea of DEI. I'm all for diversity, but diversity of thought. I don't care about your skin color. I don't care about your upbringing. I care about the thoughts and things that you bring to the table to make this country better. I've always said it. It's so odd to me that we keep talking about race. It makes sense from the Democrat side of things because they've always been about race. They're the party of Klan. They're the party of slavery. They're the party of anti-civil rights. They're the party of creating that metaphorical plantation for black people. They've always been that party, which has always floored me that people continue to vote when you're a minority for the party that actually enslaved your people and put burning crosses on the lawns. So this is disastrous policy here. There's a clip of this webinar, and this is where FEMA puts their priorities, you guys. People are dying, by the way, right now.
Sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery supports.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm cutting it there. I can't do it anymore. Jesus. Well, there's people that didn't get as much aid as somebody else. Not everything's perfect. Well, we got to create equity. Oh, God. I'm sorry I subjected you guys to that. I'm telling you something. These are the people running it. That's what FEMA wants to spend their time on. Talking about equity, diversity, and inclusion, DEI stuff. Well, we need to make sure everybody gets equal amount of water bottles and toilet paper. Like, they don't live in reality. Does that sound nice? Yes, it sounds nice that everybody's treated equally, you know what I mean? And you would hope that nobody does any shenanigans based on race or anything like that. But that's just not reality, unfortunately. By the way, somebody could sit there and give one person a case of water, and then all they had left was half a case of water because they handed some out on their trip maybe to the next home or whatever, next block. And then this person or family gets half a case of water. And to them, they'll lose their ish because, like, well, you gave the minority family half a case of water, you racist, you bigot, you didn't sit there and look at your biases. You don't know about it? Well, you're racist. You just didn't know about it, right? You're just going like, lady, I just had half a case left. I just handed out a bunch of water to a bunch of people that were in need on my way to this neighborhood. I just had half a case. Oh, you freaking bigot. You should have thought of that beforehand. Equity, inclusion. This is how these people think. What the hell's wrong with them? God, shouldn't you just be excited you got some freaking water? Well, I'm about to subject you to some other stuff. Because we got The View. Holy lordy, we got a lot of clips here from The View really quick. Wow. So The View teased Kamala up. The softball questions. And it's amazing that they teed her up, you guys, like T-ball. It wasn't even like there was a pitcher, right? The ball's just sitting there, Kamala. And she couldn't even hit it. She can't even hit it. So here's some clips of The View. She goes on there. And the remarkable thing is, Whoopi Goldberg, who it just floors me that she's even taken seriously and has a job. She sits there and introduces Kamala Harris as the next president, I kid you not, of the United States. Here we go.
To go until election. So we are thrilled that joining us right now for her very first talk show appearance and live TV interview appearance since accepting the Democratic presidential nomination. Please welcome back the next president of the United States.
We're not done. She sits there and she claims one of the first people she called was her pastor. And she said, I need to talk to God. A lady that's 4 full-blown killing babies. And as she's on The View right now, she was doing these late night shows. Yeah, everyone's throwing up in the chat. I'm right there with you. But we need to flag this stuff. We need to sit there and make sure, because it's a moment in history to see this knucklehead out here campaigning on The View, the late nights. People are under like 15 feet of mud. Their houses are gone. Kamala, you could sit there and campaign. It looks better, by the way. You going to North Carolina, Georgia, all these places and clean up. Maybe get some shots of you picking up some wood, getting your hands a little dirty, put on some jeans for once. You know what I mean? Like that's campaigning. That is what looks good. You don't need to.
For a while. Meanwhile, I went back into the room where the girls were, and I'm like, go get your father. Because I knew he'd be up somewhere. And so we laughed afterwards. Nick is their father. We laughed that Amara, the elder one, was kind of like Paul Revere, and Leela, the younger one, was Paul Revere's horse. That's a wonderful story. But, you know, so there were these, it was a real split screen, obviously. And then the rest of the day was, I mean, it was surreal. I'll tell you honestly, one of the first people I called was my pastor. I mean, I needed to talk to God, you know, and to pray. Yeah. It was, I understood in real time what was happening, and obviously then it really set in the hours and days to come. But
so they think they're hitting her with the hardball questions here. The View thinks that they're just really teeing up the stuff, you know what I mean? Just the 105-mile-an-hour pitch. You let me know.
Happy to see you here
Thank
today.
you. Thank you.
For
I'm
coming.
glad to be with you.
As Vice President, you've worked very closely with President Biden for almost 4 years. He was here on our show, and he said there wasn't a single thing that he did that you could not do. What do you think would be the biggest specific difference between your presidency and a Biden presidency?
Well, we're obviously two different people, and we have a lot of shared life experiences. For example, the way we feel about our family and our parents and so on. But we're also different people, and I will bring those sensibilities to how I lead.
What an intellectual. Yeah, this is the person that's going to solve your problems that can't answer a 5th grade question. The word that was in the question, Kamala, was specific. Can you be specific on how you're going to be different than the guy that you called a racist during the campaign? Y'all remember that? How she sat there and called the dude racist for like weeks, and then she decided that she wanted to sit there and be in the White House with a racist, I guess. That's how they think. Well, we're different people. We have different experiences, and those different experiences I'm going to bring to the campaign. What the hell does that even mean? What the hell? So again, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Joe Biden after the last 4 years? Democrats, listen.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact. Yeah. The work that we have done, for example, capping the cost of insulin at $35 a month for our seniors is something I care deeply about allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices.
Yes.
And bring the cost of prescription medication down for seniors, but my intention is to expand that for all Americans. Mm-hmm. The work we have done to invest in American industries, whether it be in terms of manufacturing and creating almost 800,000 new jobs around manufacturing, those were all a shared priority.
So you hear that, Democrat? She's not going to do anything different. Okay? So all this talk about, well, immigration's our #1 issue, the economy, inflation, I can't pay my bills, electricity. If those are truly your issues, she just sat there and has been saying it's not going to be any different. They're going to just rebrand Bidenomics, which is what you're feeling right now, to Kamalanomics. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. And you would think Ana Navarro, as somebody that's well, she's a rhino, or claims to be a Republican or conservative. I mean, they say a lot of crazy-ass things on The View. I can't even keep track anymore. Well, Ana Navarro makes a show of saying Kamala, despite Whoopi refusing to say Trump's name, tease her up to go after Trump.
Let's Kamala, and I'm calling you Kamala because for all of those who are mispronouncing it, I want you all to know how to say it. There you go. But let's talk about something you would do different from Donald Trump. Right now, there is a monster storm barreling towards my state of Florida, a place that's still reeling from Hurricane Helene. Trump is lying, claiming that the Biden administration is intentionally withholding aid from the areas where Republicans live and that FEMA funds are being redirected to migrants. Ironically, that is something he did in 2019. What do you think the effect of these lies are, and why is he doing this?
It's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and, frankly, callousness.
Dude, you want... We don't have enough time. You want to talk about irresponsibility of you allowing 10.5+ million illegal immigrants into the country, Kamala? You want to talk about irresponsibility of you sitting there and pumping the economy full of trillions of dollars and not expecting any ramifications? You want to talk about irresponsibility of pulling out of Afghanistan as a botched withdrawal where people were flying down from the skies, people blew up, our soldiers sat there and died? You want to talk about irresponsibility of sitting there and making sure that other people that immigrated here illegally are taken care of first than actual Americans? You want to talk about irresponsibility and callousness? The fact that you kicked out our veterans out of hotel rooms and replaced them with illegal immigrants that were from Iraq and Afghanistan? You want to talk about irresponsibility that you're giving the Taliban $87 million every 2 weeks? You want to talk about irresponsibility and callousness? The fact that you're giving the Iranians $10 billion when they're blowing up our merchant vessels in the Red Sea and everywhere else and going after our military installations? You want to talk about callousness? How about the fact that you won't address a single damn issue that the American people care about? Let's talk about callousness, the fact that you are sitting there in The View's nice studio while people are underwater. And you know damn well we can go freaking 20 minutes, just a full-fledged rant on her crap. We just don't have the time for it. You're lucky, Kamala. You're lucky that some of us got to go to work. So Harris, well, he puts himself before the needs of others.
The idea that somebody would be playing political games for the sake of himself, but this is so consistent about Donald Trump. He puts himself before the needs of others. I fear that he really lacks empathy on a very basic level to care about the suffering of other people and then understand the role of a leader is not to beat people down, it's to lift people up.
Absolutely.
Especially in a time of crisis. And the idea that somebody would be
you just know there's these women with buzz heads, you know, like, oh, she's so right, petting their like 5 cats, like, oh, like, she's so right. God, that guy, Orange Bad Man, I'm not going to work, we're staying. This is Orange Bad Man bad. No, no. I'm not done yet. Oh no, I appreciate you guys. Just pretend, you guys, that they're taking their job seriously on The View here. Just pretend.
Vice President, in the name of the storm, as this massive storm is heading, it's about to hit Florida, you and Governor DeSantis have been going back and forth, trading jabs over your attempt to check in. And ahead of the storm, you've called him selfish for not taking your calls. Now, he said this morning you've never called regarding any of the storms Florida has had since you've been vice president until apparently now, and called it political. What's your response to that?
Well, first of all, I have called and talked with, in the course of this crisis, this most recent crisis, Democrat and Republican governors.
The question was about why didn't you do it all the other times? In the same way, why didn't you go to the border for the last 3.5 years? It's funny how all of a sudden you care about things when now you're running for election. Interesting.
Called, taken the call, answered the call, had a conversation.
Yep. Again, we all see through it, but for some reason, Democrats don't. She also goes on to say we have to have an agreement that at some point we all need to work together to combine resources. I think it's a shame that hasn't happened.
Different. And that's why I called the governor about what Florida has received in terms of impact. We have to have an agreement that at some point we all need to work together to combine resources, especially federal, state, and local resources around these kinds of disasters. And I think it's a shame that that hasn't happened. But look, it has at the local level and with other state electeds. So
he'll take your call on your president.
Oh wow. He'll take your call when you president. God forbid. God forbid. You know we can't leave Joy Behar out. Joy Behar is the woman where some chick was stabbing another chick in the neck. Like it was this far from her. We saw in the video, and the cop shoots her down, right? Saves a person's life on body cam footage. And Joy Behar's up in arms over it. How could that white officer shoot that black woman like that? Black woman actively stabbing another black woman in the neck like this far, saved the girl's life. How could he do that? He should have fired a warning shot. He should have sat there and shot him in the buttocks or the kneecaps. It was an awesome video in terms of watching this idiot speak.
Like candidates who show up for interviews. Just saying. We all... Well, first let me say that I like candidates who show up for interviews. Just saying.
Are you shitting me?
We all know the background of the guy. Is a convicted felon, okay? A big-time loser. Has been pretty open about his plans, if elected, to stack D.C. with loyalists, going after the media and comedians. How threatened do you have to be to go after comedians? He wants to do some mass deportations, which really is a throwback to the 30s. A dictatorship by any other name. This is what he is planning.
Yeah.
People are saying this could be the closest election in a century.
Yeah.
I personally cannot understand why anyone would vote for him. A lot of it is, I think, he's getting bad.
You're an idiot. Like, you know, it's one thing to be born stupid, but it's another one to stay ignorant your entire life, Joy. There is not a brain cell in that head.
People are getting bad information from other channels. But do you have an explanation for this at all?
Well, let me just add to your list. I mean,
listen, it's only an hour show.
How much time do you have? Including, he has said he would terminate the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah.
Do you notice it's just nothing but lies? I'm not saying you can't find a truth here or there, but there's a lot of lies that are coming out of that. He's going to be a dictator. You notice they're still continuing the rhetoric. These same people like, well, the president was just shot, you know. And you would think that the one Republican on the stage, allegedly, another rhino, would sit there and push back, but nope, more softballs.
Madam Vice President, when you were here last, I asked about the border, which remains a top issue to voters. Yeah. And as you rightly pointed out, the former president blocked the strongest border security bill in decades. Yeah. But there remains this perception among voters that the Biden administration dragged its feet and waited too long to act to address the border crisis. Can you speak to why voters may feel that way?
Sure. Well, first of all, to your point, when we first came in office, hours after we were inaugurated, the first bill we offered, before infrastructure, before bringing down the cost of prescription medications, it was to fix our broken immigration system. And it never got
Notice it wasn't about fixing the border, but fixing our immigration system.
Taken up, in large part for political reasons, because solutions are at hand, and we need to fix the problem.
I just can we go back just one moment? I really want to bring awareness to something.
Sure. Well, first of all, to your point, when we first came in office, hours after we were inaugurated, the first bill we offered, before infrastructure, before bringing down the cost of prescription medications, it was to fix our broken immigration system.
Kamala, you had all three branches of government, you dum-dum. So clearly the bill sucked, where your own party didn't want to even do it. People forget. I'm telling you, people forget. And one thing we don't forget is making sure we highlight our sponsors. I want to take a moment to talk about an app called Patriot Pay. You got to love the name. It's good. It's beautiful. By Steve Bannon, who's in prison right now, folks. The guy sat there and, he didn't do anything, and they throw the guy in jail. If you've been curious about crypto but thought it was complicated, this app makes it super simple. With Patriot Pay, you can buy, sell, and trade, and even send money to friends, all in crypto. That's where we're moving, folks. We're getting out of the money, the monetary. The crypto is the next thing. It's like Venmo, basically, but it's a digital currency. And the best part is that it's full control of your money with no banks involved. You get to handle everything. Plus, it's all about building a patriot economy. We support businesses and causes that align with our values, unlike, as you can see, the Democrats and a lot of the media. Whether you're just starting out or want to explore more about crypto, Patriot Pay is a secure, easy to use app and perfect for beginners. It's very new. Crypto is booming right now. You saw Elon, you saw Donald Trump talking about it. Check it out, folks. At least go look at it, right? app.patriotpay.org, or download the Patriot Pay in the App Store today. There is a QR code on your screen. Also, link in the description. At least go check it out and see if it's something you're interested about. If you know a friend or family member, toss that to them and see what they think. A lot of people are moving towards crypto and are really interested about it. Well, folks, that is our show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, toss us a like. Toss us a subscribe. It's absolutely free to follow us over at Rumble. You don't need to pay a dime. If you do want to join us over at Rumble, let's stop giving YouTube our money. Let's give Rumble the cashola. And Stream is unavailable. Did they take us down again? Wow, they did. Oh, that's awesome. Anyways, we're still over at Rumble. Yeah, YouTube suspended your stream again, but don't worry, you guys, it's all normal. Well, with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Couldn't be more than happy to have you join us. And we'll be back here tomorrow with another episode of The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.